when you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when they was doubting on the kid. Now they tuned in cause my game too legit.
There's a lot of you don't know about the fantasy headlines. Nation. Headliner Nation. Fantasy headlines for the nation. I'm a headliner. I'm a headliner.
Yo. Analytics off the chain. Other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that chub life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation.
I'm a headliner.
Yo, what up, nation? Oh, I left these lights on again. I always do that. And they're off. Okay, what's going on, everybody? It is just before 11 o'clock here, Sunday morning, week 14. There we go. And Trey, in that start and sit question, 100% you. I'm glad you're okay, man. Sorry to hear that you had to go through that last night, but glad to hear that you beat that thing, man. Good job. Did you just, like, karate chop it in the face and say, get out of here? Yo, what's going on, everybody? Here we go. Same thing, same time, same place, Sunday morning, OddsJam episode, where we're going to be over on Underdog looking for the best pick'ems of Sunday and possibly some on Monday to put down a little moolah on. So this show, as always, we're going to be doing the pick'ems over on Underdog because we are sponsored by Underdog. So if you're interested in following any of the pick'ems that we talk about here, you can head on over to Underdog and create your free account using code word headliners. You're going to make a $10 deposit, and they're going to match that up to $100. And on top of that, you're going to get a special pick'em that is almost guaranteed to hit. Typically, it's like half a yard or something like that for a player. So, and then we use OddsJam today. So any of the tools that you're seeing today, if you're interested in potentially trying those out, you can go over to OddsJam and use code word liners. You're going to get a 7-day free trial. And then you're going to get 30% off your first month, but your first month is also going to be risk-free. So at the end of your first month, if you decide that it's not something you're going to utilize as much as you had thought, you can let them know, and they will refund your money at that time. All right. Let's go ahead and get ready to talk about some pick'ems. I'm going to refresh. Let me refresh real quick. There was a really good Michael Pittman one that's already gone. I figured, though. I figured. Okay, let's head on into it. All right, let me go back here again. Okay, let's take a look here. Houston Texans over, or Houston Texans, CJ Stroud over on the passing attempts of 29.5. It looks like for the most part, everyone anticipates him going over, but I know the weather there is not great this morning. I don't know if I'm staying, I'm probably going to stay away from a majority of those bets, to be honest with you. Dak Dak Prescott over on the passing attempts. This one's going to be an easy hammer for us. Right now, the line on Underdog is at 37.5. FanDuel has him with minus odds to go over 38, minus odds to go over 39, minus odds to go over 38, minus odds to go over 38.5, minus odds to go over 38.5. My number one play that we are going to do right now is Dak Prescott, and we're going to go over on the passing attempts, higher than 37.5 passing attempts, and we got to try and lock that one in super freaking quick, because I would not be surprised if that thing does not change soon. Justin Jefferson over 6 receptions. Plus odds on these two sites here to go over 6.5. But minus odds here, 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 and here, and here. So minus odds basically across the board. Minus odds basically across the board to go over 6.5 receptions. Going up against Las Vegas, I would not be surprised if he didn't anyway. It looks like all the books believe he will. He wouldn't be playing if he wasn't 100%. I'm going to lock in higher than 6 receptions from Justin Jefferson today. David Montgomery, under 16.5 rushing attempts. So we've got minus odds under 15.5. Minus odds under 16, minus odds under 15.5, minus odds under 16. So 4 different sports books have minus odds for him to go under. Okay. Minus odds to go under an amount that is lower than what Underdog currently has. So we are going to go David Montgomery under on the rushing attempts as well today. Under 16.5 rushing attempts. And that's going to be our first pick'em of the day. First ticket of the day is we are going to go David Montgomery lower than 16.5 rushing attempts. We are going to go Justin Jefferson higher than 6 receptions. And we are going to go Dak Prescott higher than 37.5 passing attempts. I will say that Dak passing attempt line, absolutely love it. I think that is a great value on Underdog right now. Great value on Underdog. I reckon once a year on a fairly insequential week, like week 4 each year, you should make available all the premium content for that week so jabronis like myself know what I'm missing. We can't. I explained through rap. I understand the thought process there, and I don't disagree with it, but unfortunately we can't do that through YouTube. Number one, because when we release stuff, we have to release it as members only content. We can't say it's members only and then release it publicly. But number two, we also cannot violate the terms and conditions of the memberships. So for instance, like part of the membership thing that you have to sign when you sign up is something saying that if you list it as a membership perk, it is a membership perk. Like you can't just make it available to everybody. So I get what you're saying, and I would absolutely love to get as many people in here as possible. But quite honestly explained, for $5, you can try it for a month, and then if you don't like it, you can not re-up it. So I would say for $5 a month, that's a pretty small price to pay if you're wanting to try out the premium content anyway. Unfortunately, no, we cannot make it available for free to everybody. But thank you for the thoughts there. Let's keep moving forward. Just talked about David Montgomery, obviously. Kareem Hunt over 9.5 rushing attempts against Jacksonville. I don't think I'm touching that with a 10-foot pole against Jacksonville. Demario Davis under 6.5. Nothing there. What's this? Brock Purdy under 30.5 passing attempts against Seattle. 29.5 here. 30 and 29.5. So we have 3 sports books with lower lines at minus odds. And everybody else is at minus odds for 30.5 as well. So it looks like a majority of the books feel like he's going to throw less than 30.5 times tonight. I want to take that. I do. I don't know if I trust that one, to be honest with you. That's not one that I'm feeling. When you take a look at the way Brock Purdy's been playing lately, Seattle did show up their last game, kind of. I don't know if I'm going with Brock Purdy there. Jamal Williams over 6 rushing attempts. Couple of sports books look like they believe he's going to go over that. I assume because Taysom Hill will probably be gone today, they'll probably run it a little bit more with Jamal Williams. Minus odds to go over 6.5, over 6.5, over 5.5, over 6.5. Plus odds, though, to go over 6.5 here. This one is an interesting one because over 6 rushing attempts, I don't hate it. Carolina's not very good against the run. We know that. Probably no Taysom Hill today to take away any of those rushing attempts. Derek Carr has been banged up, so there's no reason to make him throw all over the place today. I would say, oh, they took it away. It's already gone. So let's refresh again here real quick. Ooh, our tickets from earlier. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's gone. Brock Purdy, we talked about that one. I'm not in love with it. Juwan Johnson, under 3 receptions. It looks like almost everybody feels like going under 2.5 isn't going to happen. Yeah, the Jamal Williams pick'em's already gone. As I was talking about it, they pulled it. Jake Browning, over 31.5 passing attempts against the Colts. Over 32.5, over 32, over 32. Everyone else has him at those odds. We're going to go Jake Browning over the passing attempts there. So Jake Browning over 31.5 passing attempts. Dryden McComish gifting 5 memberships to the Headliner Nation community. Dryden, appreciate you. Thanks so much for the generosity in gifting the memberships to the community. Tua, I can appreciate that, but if you look at the pinned comment, we don't take start and sit questions during this episode. You'd have to come back for the live stream at noon, which is in just under an hour. Justin Fields, over 27.5 passing attempts. One book has him plus odds to go over 28.5. The other minus odds to go over 28.5. Not seeing enough there, so we're going to stay away from that one. Against the Indianapolis Colts, under 64.5 rushing yards for Joe Mixon. Under 60.5, under 61.5, under 64. So this is one of these where the book is clearly showing us that the majority of people believe that Joe Mixon is not going to run for more than 64.5 rushing yards. There's 3 books that have him going lower than the line that is currently on Underdog. but I'm not a big fan of that. Lower than 64.5 rushing yards. I think we're going to have to go ahead and lock that one in. That's a pretty large discrepancy there. That is a discrepancy right there that we kind of have to follow in terms of, again, when you're placing bets and things like that. Oh, somebody just... And Mixon just dropped by a yard. He just dropped to 63.5. The odds are still in our favor there based on these numbers here. So we're going to still keep that at 63.5 even. Yeah, it just dropped. Over 16.5 passing completions for Lamar Jackson today against Los Angeles. These books have him going over 17.5, 17. So the numbers right now would show to go over. I don't know if I can do that in that weather. That weather could end up being atrocious today. I'm honestly probably staying away from that one. Even though the numbers are saying go for it, I'm going to stay away from it. Jamar Chase over 66.5 receiving yards. That's an absolute lock there, it looks like as well. So we got to go Jamar Chase, higher than 66.5 receiving yards. And that's going to be our second ticket here. Oh, wait, it can't be. Hold on, because we have all Cincinnati players. Okay, wait a second. We have to find one more. So we'll make this a 4-pick ticket. That's all right. Justin Fields over rushing attempts right there. Higher than 10 rushing attempts. So that ended up being 4 picks. That ended up being 4 picks there. So that ticket is going to be Jake Browning higher than 31.5 passing attempts. Joe Mixon lower than 63.5 rushing yards. Justin Fields higher than 10 rushing attempts. Jamar Chase higher than 66.5 receiving yards. And I will say, as of right now, from what I have seen, I think I'm going to end up putting in a big boy ticket here, to be honest with you. Fields over 10 rushing attempts absolutely feels like a lock to me. Jamar Chase over on the 66.5 receiving yards feels like a lock to me. And then the Dak Prescott higher than, they literally, as I was getting ready to use it, they took away the attempts. They took away the attempts. Oh, you suck. I was getting ready to put in, that Dak Prescott one there. His passing attempts are not there. It says that this is showing that it is, but it is absolutely not. I do not see it. Yeah, they pulled it completely. It is not there anymore. Oh, now it is back. It's at 38.5 now. So it's bumped significantly since we started. Some of these we've already talked about. Dameon Pierce over 11 rushing attempts, 11.5, minus odds. So Dameon Pierce against the Jets, this is looking like a decent one. Man, I was feeling good about a big boy ticket there, too, with that Dak Prescott one. Ugh, hate that. All right, Pierce, we're going to go over on the rushing attempts. We're going to go higher than 11 rushing attempts. Justin Fields over passing attempts. Not a lot of change there. Jamar Chase, the receiving yards, still very good odds there. Gerald Everett, under 3 receptions. Yeah, I'm not taking that. Justin Fields over rushing attempts. Already talked about that. Justin Herbert under 18.5 rushing yards against Denver. Justin Herbert under the rushing yards looks good too. Lower than 18.5 rushing yards. That one looks good. Josh Allen under 36.5 passing attempts against Kansas City. Under 35.5, under 36. Listen, there's one thing I know that... There's one thing I know about some of these pick'ems that I've done. Any elite quarterbacks in big-time games, I'm not taking the under on. I've been burnt way too many times by that this year. Over on the rushing yards. I saw somebody bring up the rushing yards for Josh Allen. Who did that? Sergio. Josh Allen over 32.5 rushing yards. That's a good one right there because we've got a sports book saying over 33.5, over 35.5, over 34.5, over 33, over 34.5. So Josh Allen over on the rushing yards, absolutely. We want that. $32.5 rushing yards. We're going to lock that in right now. All right, so our next ticket is going to be Dameon Pierce higher than 11 rushing attempts. Justin Herbert lower than 18.5 rushing yards. Josh Allen higher than 32.5 rushing yards. Receiving. Has the Chase line moved at all? 66.5. It doesn't look like it, right? Chase was 66.5. Fields rushing attempts was higher than 10. Justin Herbert lower than 18.5 rushing yards, right? Yep. And then Josh Allen was higher than 32.5 rushing yards. Ladies and gentlemen, I just did a big boy ticket. I just did a big boy ticket. I'm not going to tell you how much. I'm not going to tell you how much. And once again, before I show it, I just want to reiterate to everybody that my big boy tickets are my big boy tickets. You do not blindly follow them unless you also feel good about them. All of the pick'ems that I talk about in this show, I talk about from a statistical advantage from what the sports books currently have listed. I do not talk about them from a gut feeling or a gut instinct. If you have the money and you would like to place a big boy ticket, you are more than welcome to. Never gamble outside of your means. Never bet more than you are willing to lose. Never bet more than you are okay losing. Today's big boy ticket that I am running with is this one right here. Based on the books, these are by far the best odds that I have seen today by the numbers. I know we have some weeks where I'm like, there's just not a lot that I'm feeling. All of the books significantly have A.J. Brown higher than 77.5 receiving yards. All of the books have Justin Fields going higher than 10 rushing attempts. A majority of the books have Jamar Chase going higher than 66.5 receiving yards. A majority of the books have Justin Herbert with lower than 18.5 rushing yards. A majority of the books have Josh Allen higher than 32.5 rushing yards. That's my big boy ticket for the day. Based on everything I've seen so far this morning, we have significantly better odds on Underdog to hit those numbers than what we would on any other sports book. I'm going to run with it. I am going to run with it. And we'll go from there. Give me a second here. Give me just a second, chat. Okay, I was just double checking a couple of things real quick. All right, we're all good. Okay, let's move forward. Let's continue our adventure. CeeDee Lamb over on the receiving yards is looking good. I am going to refresh here real fast, though. Whoa, all of our green plays have disappeared. So good thing we got our green plays when we did, because those are gone. Everyone's tailing that big boy ticket. I will say, no, I don't want to jinx it. I'm not going to say anything. We'll talk about it tomorrow if we need to. Brock Purdy, we've talked about that. I do not like that. Jake Browning, we've done that one already. Dameon Pierce, we've done that one already. Lamar Jackson, I've already said I really don't want to touch that with the weather there. Justin Fields. Eddie Jackson, Juwan Johnson. Eric Kendricks. Jamar Chase. Josh Allen. Already said I'm not doing that one. Bryce Young under passing attempts. Bryce Young under 31 passing attempts. Going up against Nollins. Under 31.5, under 30.5, under 30.5, under 30.5, under 30.5, under 30.5, under 30.5, under 30.5. So we're getting essentially an extra passing attempt because almost every single sportsbook listed here thinks he's going to finish with 30 or fewer passing attempts. And we have 31 as our number here. So Bryce Young to me looks like a pretty decent under. Lower than 31 passing attempts. Zach Wilson over 29.5 passing attempts. Again, another game affected by weather. I'm not super into trying to put money on those, especially the passing game. Josh Allen rushing yards. We've talked about that already. Rushing attempts for Justin Fields. We've talked about that already. DJ Chark under 22.5 receiving yards. Looks like DJ Chark taking the under there as well. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that young one there, but the books are consistently showing to take it, so we're going to go ahead and go with that one. Not a huge fan of it. It looks like Joshua Dobbs under 222 passing yards. 218, 221, 221, 222, 221. Joshua Dobbs, it looks like under the passing yards is also going to be a good route to go as well. That's going to bring us another ticket here. DJ Chark lower than 22.5 receiving yards. Joshua Dobbs lower than 222.5 passing yards. Bryce Young lower than 31 passing attempts. We got a lower ticket there. Yeah, Dak Prescott's passing attempts on Underdog is bumped all the way up to 38.5 now. So when we took it earlier, we were nailing it. And quite honestly, looking through the book right there, I mean, that's a lot of... In my opinion, that is a lot of pretty good pick'ems that we have found today, I feel like. And remember, I'm trying to look for a little bit more quality over quantity. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tickets in right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those tickets are different. I put an extra ticket in myself. Remember that big boy ticket. So for me personally, I mean, I think we're solid for today. So instead of me continuing to go through more, why don't you why don't you shoot me over the name of maybe a few of them that you guys are looking at, and we'll take a look and see what the books are looking like right now. I say we go that route. We found several good ones. I feel comfortable with where we are at in terms of the amount that I have laid out for all of you today, and I feel like we're playing ahead right now. So instead of trying to increase it and try and find more, we say, all right, we feel good with where we're at, and then we go from there. Tyrone, Rashad White, over, under. You said receptions, but I'm assuming you mean receiving yards there. Rashad White, his average odds are 25.5. On Underdog, he's listed at 25.5. I mean, majority here, it looks like everyone's on board with that 25.5 line. So there's nothing really that we're seeing there for Rashad White that would lead us to believe that the markets are pushing one way or another. FanDuel is the only book it looks like that's different, except for Bally that has him 26.5. FanDuel has him at 24.5. So nothing big there that we see. Ryan Stroud higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. With the weather and not 100% knowing what it's going to look like, I'm kind of staying away from as many of those games as possible today, honestly. Kickers can be some of the better calls to make, but the books really don't lay out significant lines for kickers, so it's hard to find statistical advantages for kickers. All right, we want to go CMC rushing over. Right now, his average odds are 81.6 yards. His yards on Underdog are 81.5. No big differences in the lines there, other than ESPN Bets has him at 80, and Vivid has him at 83.5. Other than that, everything pretty even across the board. Singletary player receptions. Player receptions. Yeah, I wasn't figuring nothing here. Nothing big that we're looking at. Nico Collins yards. I think that's a pretty good one. Let's take a look at Nico Collins' yards here. I think we'll see some discrepancies here with Nico Collins. So average odds right now are 64.5. Over on Underdog, he is listed at 63.5. So it looks like the average odds have him going over 63.5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books that have him going over 63.5 receiving yards. So even though it's not a huge statistical advantage, it does appear that when we look at the numbers here, that Nico Collins over 63.5 would be the way to go. James Cook rushing attempts. James Cook rushing attempts. It's at 11.5 all the way across. No big discrepancy there. DeVito passing yards. DeVito passing yards on Underdog right now is at 174.5. His average odds are 174.7. So right now, statistical advantage, slightly pointing towards taking the over. There's 1, 2, 3 sports books over 174.5. All of them are just 1 yards, though. So, Benny, if you've got him at 176.5, it would appear that you would want to take the under of 176.5 if that's the line that you have on whatever book you're using right now. Any others? Any others you guys want me to double check for you? DJ Moore yards. Oops. Receiving yards. DJ Moore receiving yards. Right now, average odds at 70.8. Underdog at 70.5. There's 2, 3 books that have him over 70.5. FanDuel has him at 72.5. Prize Picks at 71.5, and Tipico at 71.5. So, not great discrepancies there. It would appear that we are leaning over, though. It does appear that we are leaning over. G-Ray McKinnon receiving yards. Jerick McKinnon, average odds 20.5. Underdog's got him 20.5. FanDuel's got him at 21.5. ESPN's got him at 19.5. There's no big statistical advantage one way or another for Jerick McKinnon yards today. It looks like Trevor Lawrence is playing today, from what I just saw. I don't know if that's 100%, but based on the message I just saw pop up on my phone, it looks like he's playing. Debo receiving yards. Debo, 50.5 on Underdog, 50.9 average odds, 52.5 on FanDuel, 52.5 on Prize Picks, 51.5 on Tipico. It looks like majority of books are leaning for him to go over. Looking at odds, yeah, no big statistical advantages here. A little bit slightly leaning towards the over, though. Mike Evans receptions. I do wish that I could just type in a name and find everything. Maybe that's one thing that we could send back to OddsJam. 5.5 across the board. No statistical advantages here. It looks like for him to go over 5.5 receptions. Plus odds, 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 plus odds. Almost everyone feels like he's going to be under 5.5 receptions today. Feels like everyone has him under 5.5 receptions today. Because, again, all these plus odds statistically saying just means that they feel like the chances of him going under are better because they're going to pay you less than for him to go over. So they're only going to pay you more for something that they feel is more difficult to happen. Jay, I'll take a look at Puka for you, but kind of the same thing I've been saying. Not really buying into any of the bad weather games today. Puka receiving yards at 55.5. Essentially, that's the same thing all the way through. FanDuel's got him at 56.5. No real big statistical advantages here. Minus odds for both over and under. Barkley. Barkley's at 67.5 yards on Underdog. He is at 67.6 overall. Bailey's got him at 70.5. MGM at 67.5. Caesars at 67.5. DraftKings at 67.5. So it looks like three books have him over 67.5 rushing yards. And then three books have him under 67.5 rushing yards. So it looks like everyone is very split on what Barkley will do against Green Bay today. But like I was kind of already saying, chat, I'm going to go back to the optimizer here just to see if anything else has popped up that we should be keeping an eye on. Like I already mentioned, we have quite a few bets that I'm feeling really good about. I'm focusing more on quality than quantity. Oh, please don't switch. Ah, damn it. I accidentally clicked on Vivid Picks. My bad. All right. So Lamar Jackson over 9 rushing attempts has shown up here as a green play, but it doesn't appear that very many people have anything on him. That's probably changing because of the weather. And then Jerome Ford over 2.5 receptions. Both of these are looking like green plays today. Nothing statistically saying. This is just the algorithm at OddsJam telling us that these two appear to be good picks. So if you want to throw a little bit down on them real quick, you could. Nope. Lamar Jackson's rushing attempts are already gone. That was fast. Jerome Ford, is his number still there? Jerome Ford higher than 2.5 receptions is. I mean, a majority of these we've already talked about. Nothing really new showing up. We took the over on Jake Browning passing attempts earlier. Who just asked about that? Funko Pop. I don't know. I don't remember what. Hold on, let me look. Browning was higher than 31.5 earlier. He's still at that, so. It looks like Jerick McKinnon's receiving prop, it looks like, or receiving pick'em on Underdog has dropped to 19.5. And a majority of everybody else has him over. So it does look like now we are going to want to take that McKinnon over because it looks like it's dropped slightly. It does look like it's dropped slightly there. Rashad White under 4 receptions. Books are kind of all over the place on that one. Jerome Ford's receptions are gone. Jerome Ford's receptions are gone. Yeah, this is the time of the day where things like start disappearing really fast. Chat, I think we go ahead and call it there. Feel really good about some of the things that we found today. I feel like we have a lot of really good slips that we've placed, a lot of really good bets to go with them. We found a big boy ticket that we liked. But I think for now, we're going to go ahead and say, let's call it there. Again, we want to be strategic with this. We want quality over quantity. And I feel like we really found a decent amount of quality today. So I would like to say we're good there. I don't want to push the envelope. So I say we go ahead and call it there. I am going to go ahead and go get myself ready to roll for the members only live stream to talk about starts and sits. I'm going to go check on the weather, things like that. Make sure that I'm all up to date on the injuries for today and everything. But good luck to everybody today with your pick'ems. Hopefully we found some good ones for you. Hopefully they end up working out well. I think last week was the first week where picks and money-wise, we were not where we wanted to be. We've had a couple of weeks where we didn't hit as many as we would have liked, but we hit enough to be up in money. I didn't finish up in money last week, unfortunately. So hopefully you all did, but hopefully we bounce back this week. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of the day. I'll see you all if you're a member in the live stream coming up here. I think I have it set for 12 o'clock. So I'll see you all soon. Later.
When the game on the line, you can't fold and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when